Hello everyone, welcome back to some more free-for-all battles. I am bringing the Dark Elves. Our enemies today are going to be High Elves and two Skaven players. I'm going to be going up against this one, and these two are going to be facing off against each other soon. Just to let you know, I am starting to put a timestamp in the comment section below, so that if you don't want to watch the introductions, you can skip right to the battle, so keep a lookout for those. For my army, we have two Witch Elves, which grant that Rampage Poison, very good units, but also very, very squishy, so you gotta be careful with them. Also brought one of the Black Arc Corsairs, the slightly durable anti-infantry, dual-wielding melee forces that the Dark Elves have. Next to those, we also have one Bleak Sword over here in the front line. The rest of my melee infantry is going to be a Black Guard of Nagarond. This is their elite halberd infantry, not quite as good as, let's say, like the Phoenix Guard, but they are still really good. And that's going to be my melee infantry. For the range infantry, I brought additional 3 Dark Shards with shields once again, because I think they're pretty cool. And then for Cav, I brought 3 Dark Riders with shields. Pretty cheap Cav, just standard shot Cav, nothing special to really say about them. Other than the fact that, what the hell happened to the Dark Elf horses? Because just look at these poor things. They have, like, no lips. Like, what happened? They're all like that. Every single horse in their army is like that. I don't know. Why do they have to be? It's weird. For the leadership, let's say that again, I brought a Death Hag once again on their chariot, which can give friendly units the Rampage buff version, the Fury of Cain, but you will lose control of them for 57 seconds, but their melee stats increase pretty high, which is pretty cool. And then of course they have the self buff 3 times Witch Brew, which can also give them the Rampage. They exude the encouraging aura. They get fear and terror. They have resistances of all types over here, magical, missile, and physical, so pretty durable on the chariot here. And of course you can bring them without the chariot. I have yet to do so because this chariot just looks badass and is badass. Besides that, I did bring one of the Canine Assassins once again, just because I don't know, I think they're alright. They're relatively cheap. They could do a lot of missile damage, and I don't know, that's also on top of that, they have the Black Dragon Egg, which is an ability that you can buy from them that grants them 3 skills of a breath weapon. So breath weapons are pretty good. This acts just like any other breath weapon attack. You first cast it, and then you can kind of click and drag, so you decide where the actual wind spell goes. So we have one of those, and then we are being led by Malekith on a cold one. Not the dragon, because I've seen Malekith on dragons everywhere, and right now he's looking like, what's going on here? He looks very confused right now. He's like, why am I here in this battlefield? But on the cold one, you can see there he has a decent damage for focus on armor piercing. His melee stats are not the best, but they're also not the worst. He is a spellcaster, of course. He comes with his unique spell, Gaze of Malice, which is a rather short-range breath weapon. It's a little more wider than most breath weapons and shorter. So it's a wider, shorter breath weapon than most that you see in the game. Besides that, we also have Soul Stealer, which is going to do most damage to single target combatants, and it's going to drain their hit points and give it back to Malekith. He also has Blade Wind, and then Chill Wind, which I think you've seen before. And then the Power of Darkness is the ability that you can cast on yourself or on an ally. They are going to take damage, and then you can increase your mana reserves and recharge rate. We also have Spiteful Conjuration, which is going to be a map-wide hex. Whenever he is casting, he's going to grant, or I guess take away 15 armor from everybody on the map, which is pretty cool. And then, of course, Murderous Prowess, which all Dark Elves have, and then all this other stuff. And that is going to be our army today. No monstrous creatures. Maybe I'll do that later. For the player that we're going to be facing off against, the first of the 2 Skaven players, there are a total of 4 Skaven slaves, 2 here, 2 there. They're going to be 4 clan rats with spears and shields, 2 here, and then 2 over there. In the middle, we have 2 of the Plague Monks, which are the anti-infantry, decent damage-dealing, frenzy-wielding Plague Monks. They're very squishy, though, so you got to be careful with that. And then behind those 2 Plague Monks, we have the kind of upgraded version of the Plague Monks, which is the Center Bearers, which are armor piercing. They grant the Discourage buff on melee attacks, and they're also magical. I guess they call it Contaminated, not Discourage. They are very brutal in melee, but again, kind of squishy even with their physical resistance buff or bonus there. So yeah, very squishy, but that's kind of how it is for the Plague Monks. They're not really wearing any armor, but they can deal a decent amount of damage. Over here, we also have 1 unit of the Warp Lightning Cannon, the anti-large armor-piercing artillery that the Skaven have. Really cool unit. One of my favorite artillery pieces, I think, now in the game, because they come with this spotter, and then a person who I'm guessing is angling the gun back here, and I just think that's really cool. There's just this, like, Warlock engineer, maybe, over here, and he's just looking down in the telescope. He's, like, calling shots. It's pretty cool. So yeah, they have one of those, and then back here they have 3 rat ogres, which are the monstrous infantry, focusing on armor piercing, so they're not necessarily bonus versus any large or infantry, but the damage they deal is pretty good. Their mini stats are okay, and they have a decent set of hit points, but they're not the most durable of units. You can see they only have 30 melee, I'm sorry, 30 armor and 27 melee defense currently, but I think that's even with the buff because they've been upgraded, as you can see here. But yeah, I'm still iffy on the rat ogres. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure I really like them, but I'll just have to do, more testing. Then over here, we have the crazy Hell Pit Abomination, which I think is a pretty good unit. I've said before, I think it's on par with the Shaggoths of the Chaos Army. It also just looks really cool because it has this giant wheel, like, in its rear area. It's really weird, and it's cool looking. Like, a lot of work went into modeling this creature. It is ugly, cool, and awesome all at the same time with these little Skaven heads popping out. It's just weird, but there it is. It's a pretty cool unit. And then over here for the leadership of the Skaven, we have a Warplock Engineer with, I believe, all of the Warplock spells, including the Doom Rocket, which is a one-time use. Shoots up in the air. When it gets close to its targets, it's going to spread out into multiple missiles, so that's kind of a unique thing. They also have Skitter Leap, which is a cool ability. Not sure how much it's going to have effect-wise in multiplayer. Like, maybe... The only way I can think of really it being good, it's a fun spell, it's a cool spell, because it's not just stalk, I think it's the upgraded stalk, so it's really good. But like if you have units hidden in a forest to begin with, and you cast this on them, and then send them out in the open, and they're going to have the super stalk, so you can just kind of surprise your enemy, because they won't actually know that you ever had them to begin with. Other than that, it is also a speed buff, so it can have use out in the open. You can maybe speed buff, like this Hell Pit Abomination. You can cast the stalk on this giant creature. It disappears, and then you move them wherever you want to. So there are uses. It could also lead to like some cool ambush stuff going on. I don't know. It's a cool spell. I'll try it out at some point. Just don't know how viable it will be in melee as opposed to just casting like breath weapon spells, because those are just easier and more reliable. Speaking of, he does have a breath weapon, Scorch. This is a unique one. It is a very long spell. It is very thin spell, and it doesn't seem to be necessarily as good as most breath weapons, unless you get it cast on like a really good line of infantry. But I don't know. It's a unique breath weapon spell. We also have Crack's Call, which is going to be a very expensive wind spell. I've only tested this a little bit. I don't know if it's actually worth the amount of cost that it has. Like 16 mana seems pretty steep for what it does, but there it is. And then besides that, he also has Warp Lightning, which is going to be the bombardment spell that casts multiple lightning strikes in a small area, and that's pretty good against like low armored targets, it seems like. The passive for the Warplock Engineer is a Musk of Fear, so 8 seconds minus 4 leadership and 13 melee attacks, so that's pretty cool. All these map-wide debuffs that apparently everybody in these armies have. They also have Extra Powder, which is going to buff up the explosion and armor-piercing explosion damage specifically with units around them, so you want to team this person up with your like Globadiers, and they will, throw out some more damage. And then we also have Scurry Away, which is just a Skaven thing, and then Encourage and all that stuff. And then their actual leader, the Lord of the Army, is going to be a generic Warlord. So, I don't remember what items the Warlord can bring. This player didn't really bring anything except for Verminous Valor, which is just the thing that explodes and gives them a speed buff so they can run away from a bad situation. And then they also gave him Rally. They do have some unique weapons or items. I just don't remember what they are off the top of my head right now. But don't have to worry about them in this battle because this player didn't take them. So you can see right there, the very basic Warlord is very cheap, but you're not going to get much for it. It's 400 damage. The melee stats are like on average for these types of heroes. Nothing special at all. They're not going to be able to stand up against most other kind of heroes unless you're fighting against just generic, like generals or princes without mounts and stuff. So yeah, nothing special about them, but they are really cheap. So if you want cheap leadership, the Warlord is a good thing. That's going to be that Skaven army. And then for the other Skaven player, they are being led by a Grey Seer of Plague, bringing, I believe, all of the spells for them. They have the, actually, the Warpstorm Scroll is an item that they can buy. So this is going to target only flying units, and it deals okay damage to a set of flying units if you want to bring that. It's a nice anti-flyer scroll. It seems like the Skaven have a lot of different ways to deal with flying units, and that's probably a good thing because they don't have any flying units of their own. So you can see they have the Warp Scroll, the Arcane Conduit, but for spells here we have the Vermintide, which can summon just basic clan rats. We have the Wither Spell, which is the AoE armor debuff, which I think is a great spell that lasts so long, especially good against the high elves. At least in this game, because you can't fight dwarves or anything. It's going to be amazing against dwarves when that happens. But yeah, so for 50 seconds, lowering their armor by 30. You can also upgrade it, I believe, for more armor. Let's see real quick. Yeah, so minus 60 armor for 16 mana. I'm sorry, Winds of Magic. For 50 seconds in an AoE, it's really good. So, you can hit all of those White Lions, the Swords of Hoeth, the Phoenix Guard. You can lower their armor by 60, which is a huge deal for them. It's such a great spell. I think Wither is so good. But besides Wither, we also have the Dreaded 13 spell, which is a summoning of the Storm Vermin. I believe this is the Halberd version of the Storm Vermin, not the Sword and Shield. So that's pretty cool. Very expensive, but they are a very good unit, for the Skaven anyway. And then we also have Unholy Clamor, which is going to be a mount ability because they are on this... I forget what it's called, what the mount is actually called, but this is the mount ability. So map-wide, it's going to give your Skaven a leadership buff and a vigor buff, which is huge for Skaven because they need leadership. Then we also have Scorch, which we've seen on the Warplock Engineer. The debuff here is Plague Rash, which is going to lower speed and vigor of everything map-wide whenever they are casting. You can see that for 10 seconds. Then other unique items that this player brought is going to be the Portents of Verminous Doom, lowers leadership around them, and then there's a buff which grants leadership and melee attack around only the Skaven. So that's kind of important. In case you're doing like a 2v2 team battle, these type of mountain stuff doesn't actually affect you unless you're Skaven. So if you're double Skaven, you're fine. If you're Skaven and High Elf, well, you're not going to get these buffs. So you kind of got to start paying attention to those specific cannot target if stuff, because there's a few of those in this game now. Besides that, just kind of normal stuff, causes fear, siege attack, and all that stuff. So that's our leader, the Grey Seer of Plague. In the forest, I believe we have 8? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... I thought they had 8. I guess it's 7. They have 7 Gutter Runner Slingers of Poison. The Gutter Runners are decent in melee. They can take on low-tier infantry. The Slinger version cannot fire while moving like their cousins can, but they do have a longer range because they are slingers. They have poison damage. They share the snare net with their non-slinger versions. They have the stalk. They have the 30% physical resistance. I honestly have not tried the Gutter Runner Slinger version before. I don't know. I can't say if they're good or not. Honestly, I cannot tell you that. But there's a ton of those. All of those are Gutter Runners with Slingers. And then their front line are going to be 4 Death Runners. Those kind of exotic, very expensive, well, not super expensive. I think they're 900, which is pretty expensive for a Skaven unit. These are the ones that are going to lower armor by 50%. They have armor-piercing damage. They have that concealment bomb, which gives them super stealth, and then they also have that 30% physical resistance that most of the people in their kind of class of rats share. These Gutter Runners, these Death Runners. Do the Night Runners also have it? I think Night Runners also have it, which are like the lowest tier of all these kind of runner units. Now, I don't think you really want Death Runners to be your frontline infantry, but that's what this player has done. They have 4 of them. And that's their army. A ton of Gutter Runners with Slingers, and then 4 Death Runners. Death Runners are good, but they're not tanky at all. So, we'll see how they fare against the High Elves. I think that's all of these Skaven. Yeah, that's all it's Skaven. Alright, so for the High Elves, I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. You're going to see Lothar and Seaguard in almost every battle that you fight against the High Elves. Because they're cheap. They're cheap for what you get. You get an archer unit that's also super durable, that does bonus versus large. Like, they're really good. They're really good. They're really good. You're just always going to see them. And there are 4 of the Lothar and Seaguards here in this battle. We also have 2 of the Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers. Back here we have 2 of the very elite Phoenix Guard, the Halberd Infantry of the High Elves, which actually have a different martial prowess. I just kind of noticed that. Martial Mastery. So they grant 8 melee attack and 12 melee defense. So normally it's plus 2 melee attack and 12 melee defense, right? For everything that's, like, for all other elves. Let's just double check that. 12 melee defense and 2 melee attack. Yeah, so the Phoenix Guard even have a better martial prowess. That's kind of cool. I honestly didn't even notice that before. Then we also have 2 of the Dragon Princes. This is the top tier cav for the High Elves. And like all other High Elf cav, there is no bonus versus infantry or large, and I don't think they have any armor piercing cav specifically. They are all just very generic damage shock cav, including these ones. But on top of the 110 armor, very good leadership and decent melee stats, and really good charge bonus, they do also come with a physical resistance of 25% and a fire resistance of 70%. And then I guess, they also get the Martial Mastery, kind of like the Phoenix Guard do. Alright, cool. So they also have the upgraded Martial Mastery. I have not used these yet, so I can't say one way or the other if they're great. I think they're around 1,500 gold, and I'm guessing, judging by their stats and the fact that they don't have any bonuses versus anybody, I think they would lose to the old races, like top tier cav, like the Grail Knights, the Blood Knights. I'm pretty sure would beat these people, and I'm thinking that the Demigryph Knights are probably going to beat them too. I don't know, I can't test them yet, but that's just my guess, is that their high tier shock cav is not going to be able to beat the other high tier shock cav of other races, but they are still pretty beefy, and they can deal a lot of damage. So that's their army. Their leadership is going to be Teclis in this battle. I think that's their only hero and or lord. Yeah, that's it. So Teclis for them, he has that awesome King's Ring of Fury, which grants him 2 skills of that Phoenix Wind spell, which is very, very devastating. And I'm pretty sure, like 90% sure that his version doesn't actually have a cast time. So when you use the High Lore, because this spell is from the High Lore, I think there's like a 5 or 7 second cast time after you cast it. For him, it's instantaneous, I believe. So that's pretty cool. They also brought the potion, Regrowth Flock of Doom, the Enfeebling Foe, which is another spell that he has. I don't think I brought that when I brought Teclis. They also have the AoE Flaming Sword of Ruin, and then Chain of Lightning, and the Net of Amatox. So I guess they just brought every single spell, which is understandable. You know, the game just came out, so you probably just want to play with all the tools. And again, he also has Greater Arcane Conduit, which is a really good buff for mages to have. And then the 3 different passives, the one from the High Lore, the one from the Beast Lore, and the one from the Fire Lore, which is also unique. And then, of course, Martial Prowess and all that. Teclis, I think, is a pretty cool character. You probably should bring him on his horse just to make sure you can get out of a bad situation if there is one that arises, because you can see he's not really a brawler. They did not bring his sword, which is one of the items you can get, which temporarily buffs his stats to make him more of a melee fighter. But even with that, he's not, like, he's no Malekith, or he's no Tyrion. That is for damn sure. Alright, so that is the introductions. Let's jump into the battle. I am going to be facing off against the Skaven, because I brought an army that has some bonus versus infantry, and I'm like, well, Skaven have a lot of infantry, so we're going to head for them here first, and then this Skaven player already deployed to attack who was ever here, so that's what they are going to be doing. They're going to be sending their Death Runners and their Slingers to the edge of the forest over here, and they're going to start raining down on the Lothran Seaguard and Dragon Princes. The Grey Seer, I believe, is going to start marching this way as well. Over here, my Dark Riders initially, they're going to be going into the forest to try and wait and spring out a trap. But the way that these Skaven are going to deploy, it's going to be a very wide formation. Like, this is a very wide formation to specifically protect their one Warp Lightning Cannon. So we're going to have units spread out kind of all over the place to have multiple rows of defense. You can see them moving up here. They're going to have more Clan Rats back here. And just making sure that there's really no way to get past without going through a Clan Rat. And that's not a bad idea. Like, you have so many rats, you might as well use them. So my Dark Riders, which again initially go over here, I'm going to actually pull them out, and I'm going to try and look for a way into these Warp Lightning Cannons somewhere over here. But you're going to see that this player is going to respond to my movements, and they're going to block almost every single access point, except for if I were to go all the way around. That's going to be the only way that's kind of close, or open. So you can see there, we are now changing our direction over there, and I'm going to be marching over there. Meanwhile, over here, I believe the battle is about to start. This one is going to be mostly just a bunch of Slinger Fire from the Gutter Runners with poison, just swinging into the High Elves. Nothing too crazy. And again, they only have the Death Runners, so they're going to be going up. I guess I can show that a little bit later. Or maybe just kind of bounce back and forth. There you go. The Warp Lightning Cannon is already taking it to our Death Hag, which, of course it would, because the Death Hag is a large unit, very easy to hit. There goes that rocket spell. They only have 1 charge from the Warp-like Engineer, and you can see I'm going to try and find a way in, but whenever I move over here, they're going to be moving Clan Rats over there, and they're going to be able to block my way, and then I'm too busy microing my infantry, so I am going to get caught over here a couple times with my Dark Riders, because I'm just too busy giving attack orders now. We're going to send our Witch Elves over there, our Black Ark? Yeah, Black Ark Corsairs, and then the other Witch Elves. I'm going to be leaving our Bleak Guards, or Bleak Swords, in the back in case this fails. Also, in case the High Elves send something over here, I just want a infantry unit back here to protect our 3 Dark Shards. They're going to be sitting back in this area, just raining death. There goes the unique spell of Malekith. That's his unique breath weapon. The Hell Pit Abomination, you can see over here, is going to actually be engaging on our forces in the forest. And I believe we get 2 of the Rat Ogres over here. The 3rd Rat Ogre is going to be held back on pretend duty? Guard duty on the Warp Lightning Cannon. You can see I'm still back here trying to find a way in that doesn't involve running all the way around, because then they can just kind of easily cut over. So now our Witch Elves and Black Ark Corsairs are going to be overpowering these Clan Rats and Skaven Slaves, and also the Plague Monks. There's which are being pounded by this Death Hag, which is really good. Meanwhile, those 3 Dark Shards in the Black Guard of Nagaron are going to be focusing on the Hell Pit Abomination and these dual Rat Ogres that are coming in here to try and kill our Witch Elves, which they're going to be able to do. They're going to do a lot of good damage to our poor Witch Elves. But we have the Hell Pit Abomination pinned down by our Witch Elves' poison. So they can't get out of the situation, and we are just raining death on them with those 3 Black Shards. But since we're such in a dense formation, we are susceptible to AoE spells like that, or any spells really. So we took just a massive blow from the Warplock Engineer. Over here, my Dark Riders tried to find a hole right here, but it was cut off, and then they are now dying. The other 2 managed to sneak around, but then got cut off by this Clan Rattle Spear. We're going to manage to get this one away and into the Warp Lightning Cannon. That is my goal. You can see Malekith is now going to be running over here. We're going to be ignoring their Warlord as best we can. We just need to shut this down. The Hell Pit Abomination is just taking so much damage from these 3 Dark Shards, so that thing is going to fall, and we're going to be firing into the Rat Ogres as well, and we have the Black Guard and Nagaron in there, which are also just great anti-large units. Meanwhile, over on the other side of the battle, the Death Runners have not had a great time fighting against even the Lothran Sea Guard, because Lothran Sea Guard stats are just really good, and they have taken a lot of damage just from archery fire. The Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers have just significantly damaged the Gun Runners, and the Grey Seer specifically just been sitting in here in the forest. And this is basically, this is their battle. Oh, there was a sword. Oh yeah, this is a Summon Storm Rune. So the the Skaven player mostly just stuck to the forest and was just raining death on the High Elves, but the High Elves' archery capabilities are so much better than the Skavens are. So they are currently in a losing battle. They have lost a lot of their Death Runners at this point. The Dragon Princes you can see there are still pretty healthy. Meanwhile, over here, we finally managed to rout the Warp Lightning Cannon, because we got those Dark Riders on him. We had Malekith on him, who also is now routing the Warlord, because the Warlord can't really stand up to Malekith, especially also with the support of the Death Hag over there, and the Canine Assassin nearby, who I actually cast the Power of Darkness on. So he is taking damage so that the rest can get, so we can get some more mana, some more Winds of Magic. You can see the Corpse of the Hell Pit Abomination. We're going to get hit with the Crack's Call here from the Warplock Engineer, because again, I'm in this very dense formation. That did do a decent amount of damage, I'm not gonna lie. Throwing in our Bleak Swords here, who have been in reserve to try and cut off these Skaven slaves that are trying to get into the Dark Shards crossbows, who are now pulling back out. Meanwhile, we have the Death Hag and Malekith and the Canine Assassin, who have already broken the Clan Rats that were in this area. We're going to come back over here against the 2 Plague Rats, or it's just 1. I think it's just 1 Plague Monk, but then mainly the Plague Monk Censor Bear, who is still alive. You can see we're doing a rear charge on him with the 1 Dark Rider that we have. We do have 2 Dark Riders, but the other one is near death somewhere. Not entirely sure where, but we do have another one. Bleak Sword is going to be holding off these 2 Skaven slaves and the Warplock Engineer, allowing time for our Dark Shards to just kind of fire into these Plague Monks from the back. They are very, very squishy, so all of this crossbow fire, it just wrecked them. It also didn't help that they had Dark Riders fighting them as well. Then here comes Malekith and our Death Hag on the Chariot to try and finish off this little pocket, including the Warplock Engineer. You see the Warlord is coming back, some of the Clan Rats are coming back. But the Skaven have been badly beaten. Without the Hell Pit Abomination, without the Rat Ogres, I believe we have routed off all 3 or killed them at this point. We took out one of the Rat Ogres here at the fight against it with the Warplock Cannons, and without the Warplock Cannon, they just didn't really have much left to throw up another fight against us, so you can see this is going to lead into a chain rout. So the Witch Elves, really good. The Witch Elves are so good at locking down units. I'm curious to try them against the old races and like lock down, I don't know, Supreme Knights, locking down leadership who gets too cocky, like you see a Boris Todbringer running into your caster or your assassin or something. They just come down there with the Griffin like, oh, I'm so powerful, look at me, I'm on a Griffin. Then you're like, oh, I got a Witch Hag here. I'm gonna make you rampage. Oh, you can't move. Oh, you're dead. So like the witch elves are pretty cool with that debuff, forcing people to go into rampage, and they can't do anything. You can't control them. So now they're just stuck there, and it's like a net of Ammontok, but cooler. Because, I don't know, it's witch elves. I don't know. But anyway, this Skaven player is now dead. The other Skaven player lost, I believe, almost all of their Death Runners except for 1. Yeah. So they lost all their Death Runners except for 1. They charged out of the forest with the Death Runners, who ran into a hail of archery fire from the Lothran Sea Guard, and then they ran into the Phoenix Guard, who are just better than them. And even with the overwhelming firepower of all of these gutter runners with slings, they just couldn't overwhelm the High Elves. Because again, the Lothran Sea Guard have shields. The Phoenix Guard have very, very high armor, so they can resist a lot of that very low damage that the slingers bring. And of course, the Lothran Seaguard just block a lot of it because they have the shields. Same thing with the Dragon Prince with their high armor. So now, what I see is just an almost dead Grey Seer. Because all these other gutter runners, they have stalks. So I think at this point that their army is gone. And I'm like, holy shit, they just got destroyed. Of course, I don't see that. They still have a lot of slingers left. They're just retreating into this forest now. So I'm going to be coming up here thinking that the other Skaven player is dead. Because I wasn't really watching this battle. I was too focused on my own. And so now we're going to just slowly approach the high elf position, who still has a fully healed Teclis for the most part. They still have all 4 Lothran Seaguard with ammo. They still have 2 Phoenix Guards. They still have both their Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers. And they still have both of their Dragon Princes that are both in relatively high hit points. And I'm like, oh my god, this is going to be tough. But we're going to try and do it. So, the 2 Dark Riders that we have, I'm going to send into this forest over here and then spring a attack to try and grab their Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers. The rest of my force is going to be marching up this way, and then my Dark Shards I think are going to be splitting off over here. Right now I'm just trying to scout out the forest because I saw the Dragon Princess go in there, so I'm trying to see them. So that's what we're doing right there. Getting hit with the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower on our Death Hag at this point. She is going to take a lot of damage from their anti-large shots. Dragon Prince is going to charge us, so I'm going to charge them and try and pin them into this forest where we are all doing less damage. We have minus 80% melee attack. Going to try and cast our Blade Wind here, and it goes the direction that I don't want it to go. I wanted it to go this way. But then it does kind of cut in. I forgot about that. It got a little damage in there. But I'm trying to pin the Dragon Princess in here to buy time for our melee units to come down here and get them and try and wipe them out before they join their army. So you can see I'm trying to hit them with the Chill Wind to slow them down, doing whatever I can to keep them in this forest so we can kill them. But now we're running into the 4 Lothran Seaguard, 2 here, and there are going to be 2 back over here that are watching, I guess, the Skaven player, because they know that the Skaven still has a bunch of slingers left. I don't know this at this point. We did do some damage, some good damage to the Dragon Princess, and when my infantry starts to approach, which I think is right now. Yeah, okay. So here come my Dark Riders. Thinking that the enemy is only looking this way, I'm going to spring the trap over here. And I think it's going to work, because they don't really notice these 2 Dark Riders coming in, and they react pretty late. So we hit these with another Chill Wind to slow them down on their charge, because they were going to try and go for one of our Blackguard Corsairs. But I'm going to try and intercept them with the Death Hag, run Malekith back over here, and then run our Blackguard of Nagaron. Meanwhile, over there, we're going to get netted by Teclis, which I'm like, okay, I mean, I guess we got netted. And you can see we do some damage to the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower, but not enough. We're going to get just peppered and destroyed by the Lothran Seaguard, and the Phoenix Guard are also going to finish them off. But we have the Dragon Princes. We kind of pinned them in place, and we dealt a lot of good damage to them, trying to kill them with the Dark Shards over here. And this is when, or about when, I'm going to notice that the Skaven actually still have a lot of slingers left. They're going to be coming over this hill and start firing into my Dark Shards and into the High Elf here. Tech is casting a Chain Lightning. He's going to nick one of my Blackguard Corsairs. I'm casting the Vortex over here on the Lothran Seaguard, doing a lot of good damage. It seems like the Vortex spells have been slowed even more, so they are just better. They're not super fast, so they won't go off course really quickly. And you can see that we're still just chasing down those Dragon Princes, and in that skirmish, we managed to destroy 2 nearly full Dragon Princes, so that's really good for us. And now we're going to have to slam into the Lothran Seaguard. 2 Phoenix Guards coming back over here as I'm going to be taking fire from these slingers. I'm trying to pull away from them. I'm like, oh my god, the Skaven player is not dead at all. Here comes another Storm Vermin summon. But I am mostly concerned with the High Elf player. So we're going to try and get our Dark Shards onto these High Elf units, especially the Phoenix Guard. You see Tech is casting one of his unique attachments there, the Phoenix spell, but it's going to miss. Doing a lot of good damage to those Lothran Seaguard as our Blackguard Corsairs, what's left of them, our Bleak Swords, and our Blackguards coming in here. High Elf player also just taking it from behind here too, because the Skaven Horde is back and in charge. They're going to be trying to destroy the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower that I was trying to kill, but they're going to finish the job that I started. And I'm going to do whatever I can to destroy these 2 Phoenix Guard. Going to be pouring everything we have into it, trying to get our Dark Shards over here to pour more fire into it. I think one went all the way around and is now over here. Canine Assassin is just over here trying to throw or shoot their crossbow into the Phoenix Guard. Whatever I can to kill them, I'm going to try.
Time to kill.
I think we're going to be losing our Death Tag here soon. There she goes. But we are going to be getting a lot of good damage on these Phoenix Guard now that they are pinned in place by our Bleak Swords. Malekith taking a lot of damage from the Phoenix Guard, but there's really not much else to attack besides Teclis. which I think I'm gonna do here.
Onward.
I think. I thought I did. Maybe I didn't.
Dreading misery.
Okay, I'm gonna run into this Lothan Sea Guard. Storm Vermin are almost dead due to the nature of summoning sickness. But there is still a mighty Skaven horde out here of gutter runners with slings, and I'm just going to ignore them. At this point, looking at the point total, I need to kill the high elf player. I can't let them get any more damage done. And you can see that the Skaven player is way behind. So I'm like, you know what, Skaven? You can hit me, that's fine. I just need to do whatever I can to try and take out the high elf player at this point. So that is exactly what I'm doing. I'm trying to take out the Lothan Sea Guard, do as much damage as we can. For some reason, Teclis cast a Chain Lightning on this Grey Seer. I guess they're hoping that would finish them off. And at this point, the Skaven kind of owns the field with how much, you know, how many forces they have, but they do not own the points. So again, I'm just trying to do what I can. Teclis is getting a lot of damage from our Blackguard. I think we may shoot into these Death Runners with our Dark Shards. Yeah, there you go. Canine Assassin chasing down who? I guess the Eagle Bolt Thrower. I think I put him on Teclis. I thought I did. There he goes. Yeah, I think now he's going to be shooting at Teclis. I'm just trying to bring down, again, the High Elves. So I'm trying to take out the leadership, make them right off the field, and then we do. So as soon as the High Elf right out from the field, that means they're not going to be getting that last player standing bonus. They do not have enough points to beat me. And even with the last player standing bonus, the Skaven cannot win. So I was like, ah! I remember I think I screamed at this point. I was like, yes! Victory! You can't do shit, Skaven! You hid for too long! Just being the last player doesn't mean you win. So we're going to fast forward, because I won at this point. I'm just too far ahead. So I'm going to do what damage I can, but it doesn't matter. We are going to technically get routed off the field here. Malik is going to do one final charge. But it does not matter. We're just too far up in points. Again, you have to deal damage. You cannot just sit back and not do anything, or else you won't win. So good game to Senior Flippo, Junkhound, and Bottom Frag. You can see the Death Hag got a ton of kills. Malik got a lot of kills. Our Black Arc Corsairs did really well. Witch Elves did really well. This one was the one that was pinning down the Hell Pit Abomination, so I think they did pretty good. Dark Shards did fairly okay. My Dark Riders was mostly a waste. I just could not micro them past all those clan rats, and I honestly got a lot of them killed, so they didn't really get to do too much. For the High Elf Player, Phoenix Guard did what they could. I think they killed a lot of Gutter Runners, or no, not Death Runners. Sorry, Death Runners. Dragon Princess got a decent amount of kills. The Lothan Sea Guard did a lot of damage, and the Eagle Call Bolt Throwers almost killed the Grey Seer. For Bottom Frag, the player that I was fighting against, let's see, Plague Monks did really well. Hell Pit Abomination killed some Witch Elves, but then was focused down. Yeah. That's basically it. The thing is, these are all meat shields, so you're not really going to expect them to get kills. So what they needed to get kills were all the units down here, and they did get some, but we were able to shut down the Warp Lightning Cannon pretty quickly. The Hell Pit Abomination, you saw what happened to that, and the two Rat Ogres kind of followed suit with that one really quickly after, so a lot of their high damage dealing units were dead pretty quickly. And then for Junkhound, well, their Slingers got actually some decent amount of kills for slinging, I think. But you can see the Death Runners did not do great. These are not meant to be your frontline fighters. They're meant to be flankers, in and out very quickly because they're so squishy, but they have such an awesome debuff. I think they're really cool, but you just can't really use them as, you know, like Skaven slaves, basically. And I think that does it, yeah. So, hope you enjoyed the battle, everybody. Malekith victory, and let's watch a cinematic view.
Will flow. Murder awaits.
Death awaits.
Advance. Fury with rage.
Onward. Dreading misery.
For Cain.
Attack. Advancing! Glorious carnage! Slaughter!
At once!
Malekith comes! Slaughter!
By Drakira!
Destruction awaits! I am dead!
The Rat Ogres have some pretty cool animations. I think more against infantry because they have like a very long death animation that they can do for infantry. They just slam people back and forth.
Come forth!
On to slaughter! Kill everything!
Spreading misery!
This is that soul-stealing move that just happened.
Setting forth! Suffering for all! Attend me! Come forth!
Advance, Dookie! Death is coming! No death! Retreat! Destruction is come!
Moving out!
Massacre them!
Advancing!
Make them bleed! Rage!
Death awaits!
By Cain!
Carnage forth! I depart! Destruction awaits!
Those flails are so cool.
No mercy! Kana!
They're just getting dragged by the cab. Look at that! Look how far these two are. Like the fight is over there.
Setting forth! Malekith comes!
Forward! It will be!
Advancing! Death awaits!
This poor Warblack engineer, they do not have any chance against the Malekith. Look at the disrespect! The crossbows are just walking fast.
I march!
Malekith comes! Onward!
I think at this point their fight's done. Yeah. The Skaven are already in a long retreat back over there.
Moving out! I fear no one! Hear my words! It is done! On to slaughter! Suffering for all! I am ready! I depart!
Taking out the stragglers.
Hear my words! I will! Death awaits! Destruction awaits! Advancing! Forward! Annihilate them! Unit! Destroy!
It shall be.
Attack!
Suffering flow.
Back! All shall die! Crush them! Moving out! Glorious carnage!
Onwards to murder. Malicious. To battle.
They shall suffer! Counter! Attack!
Massacre them. Samurai haste. Power of pain.
Attend me! Glorious carnage! Forward! Moving out!
Slaughter them. Advance, Druki. Onward. End them.
Crush them!
No mercy. Massacre them. Die. Going. End them. Excellent.
Unit!
On to slaughter. Die, weaklings. Sowing turmoil. Onwards to murder.
Spreading misery! Slaughter them!
Phoenix Guard looks so cool. These guys look so cool, not as cool. Oh, the Phoenix Guard's so cool.
Pull back. Slash. Kill.
Death!
No death.
Like, they look like the epitome of fantasy medieval.
On to slaughter!
Blood will flow.
Forward! Attack! Setting forth!
I just want to see these two duke it out for a while because they're just so cool. I like the new house. Look at that! Look how fancy that shit is! Look how fancy ass elves over here, twirling and shit. Look behind the back. What kind of? You don't need to do that in a battle, but they do because they're elves. Hashtag fucking fancy. Damn. Get out of here, Techless. You're not fancy enough for that shit.
By Cain. Die, weaklings!
Fear my wrath!
Forward!
I am dead!
Death!
My god, all the slingers. Poor Blackguard.
For the king! Kill
Just getting
them!
peppered by pebbles. Look at this shit. Oh,
For the king!
coated in rat feces. Like, it's just,
Malekith comes.
Back! Slay them! Murder awaits!
Carnage crawls.
Back!
Malekith
no, don't rout, my friends.
setting forth.
Moving out! Advance, Spooky!
No.
Waits. On to slaughter. Forward. Spreading misery.
I remember I was trying to make it for the Gracier because they had like one hit left on them. I wanted to at least kill them. But even with the shield, you just can't withstand all this. Actually, hold on.
Destruction.
What's on your shield? Oh, it must be one of their... Oh, it's just a bunch of their balls on the shield. Okay, got it.
Awaits.
And that's as far as we made it. And that's okay. It would have been pretty cool to be able to kill the Gracier and then die, but can't always get what you want. Thanks for watching the battle, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. I will see you all next time. Take care.